Yeah.
Then sports.
Sports.
I think sports is still part of the entertainment.
It is very.
So sports, football, basketball, then the music industry, you have the film, much as all together collectively, you would think we still have a long way to go.
Sure.
In comparison to other established entertainment markets. Yeah.
Okay. I believe we're actually heading somewhere, because now I'm going to start with something remarkable which happened. I'm going to rely so much into the movie industry.
The movie industry.
Yeah. I remember on July 28th of July this very year, the government of Uganda donated 3 billion shillings to the local movie makers.
Okay.
3 billion, and that was something quite very remarkable. And this is part of the the Vision 2063 of the African Union, as one of the ways is to ensure that there is improvement in the African cultures, social cultures to be improved. And remember, movies are one of the ways where cultures actually are put out there for the people to see. Do you realize that movies which make lots of money? Because if you sell your culture out there, definitely money will attract, because your culture is unique.
Absolutely.
You know, you're the only one that has your culture. So if I can make business out of my culture, it's good, and it's a part of the bigger vision of African Union of 2063. You know, about building a sustainable African economy, making sure that all sectors of the like adaptation of the digital trends, you know, so many other, but entertainment is also inclusive.
Yeah.
It's believed that this industry employs about 500,000 people. The entertainment industry, the movie, let me say that, movie industry in Uganda.
And it's
500,000
actually.
Yeah.
We are looking at economy-wide transformation.
Yes.
And Africa at large, the different agendas to 2060, 2030, across all sectors.
Exactly.
Not only the movie industry, you have the CADI, the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program. Likewise, a similar pattern for the entertainment. And obviously, when you talk about the movie industry, movies are a projection of what society actually is.
Perfect. You brought it out very well.
And we are looking at the transformation of the African market in comparison to the movie industry has been predominantly West-oriented.
Very true.
Content from the West. So you realize you're trying as much as possible to bring in the African context. When you look at East Africa and Uganda in particular, when you look at DSTV, you have Pearl Magic Prime, which is the hub of the Ugandan movie industry the setting, the different series from the likes of Prestige, among others. So you realize we are creating a platform to promote local content.
Okay.
The movie industry. And we have a couple of talents. People that have been here for quite some time. But then eventually, it comes down to how much is the industry generating in return. Because investment is quite crucial. Shooting these different movies is quite costly.
Very true on that.
So what if you put in a lot on the outcome, what do you get in return? So I think it will be a collective effort for both the government and then the private sector, because I don't really think the entertainment industry is government owned.
Of course, largely
private owned. So I'm looking at the movie industry being transformed, but it's a general problem when it comes to talent, performing arts.
Okay, talking about that, lately we are having quite a new. I'm going to request my producer to play me a clip of some of the trailers of the Ugandan movies that we anticipate, to show that actually there is quite an improvement regarding the business, like the movie production in Uganda. By the way, talent in Uganda is now growing. Seriously, I request the producer to give us that clip as we take a look at how improved the Ugandan movie industry is, and it's ready to generate massive lots of money. Ivan, take a look at that. It's been a while since you look at that production. That's a Ugandan product.
Yeah.
Can you really believe it's a Ugandan product? Can that make money?
I think that's an upheaval from what we used to have previously. Because if you look at the most established African movie markets.
Yeah.
Then obviously you have South Africa. You have Nigeria. And when you compare this, obviously it sits in. It would compete.
It would compete
with exactly
would
what
make
the
money.
top guys are doing. Yeah. The biggest interest would be
Yeah.
on the content. We are
Okay.
looking at the storyline.
Yeah.
What's the story in there? It's
Exactly.
one of the most crucial elements.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Lukman Ali has been at the top of it previously, and then lately, coming up with the exact pieces that you think would be so vital in transforming the movie and then entertainment
industry.
at large. So we are looking at technology from the software that we use in post-production,
Yeah, exactly.
the cameras, high-tech cameras. So it's a lot of work, but like I said, the investment should be there.
But do you know that actually that very producer has a movie that featured on Netflix? Girl in the Yellow Jumper.
Exactly, I know.
That stream, those are revenue streams. So are you seeing, and actually, if you hear his story, he believed in what he was doing. He funded them. I mean, there was no government intervention for him to get the funds, but he made something that went on Netflix. And you know what what it means to be on Netflix? That's money. Streaming. I mean, people are streaming your movie, and
Netflix goes with high quality production. If you look at the different products, Western products, from the likes, the different series, we talk about Riverdale, you could talk about, among other series that are quite catchy. They come with a lot of work. You need the talent.
Yeah.
You need the brains behind the scripting. You need the high tech in the post-production. You need the producers, the directors. So it's a lot of work.
Okay.
And getting into this, it's where we call upon the government of Uganda. It's so unfortunate, and I believe you'll be bringing it later on. Whenever there is the money, it provides an avenue for taxation.
And that's where we're heading. Very interesting. When there is money, there is an avenue for so you're going to tax. The tax you're going to demand is actually there because you created the avenue for that person to make the money.
Exactly. So you would think we need a government to be at its most backing the performing arts, the movie industry, the sports fraternity, and the entertainment at large. So how best we can do this is the biggest question. What have been our priorities when you look at the past 3, in fact 5, 10 years?
Exactly.
When you look at Uganda's transformation action plans, is the entertainment and performing arts the priority or not?
I don't think it's really given a much priority because I don't think it would be the way it is if it was a priority. Because why I'm saying that is because look at the IT sector. Okay, it's just digressing. Of course, it's a topic for another day. Do you see where we are currently in Uganda? That we are, there is, despite the fact that our innovation index, we are still a little bit down. But on ground, maybe we are ranked that way because we have not moved to the expectations of the global standards. But if I'm to look at we ourselves as communities, you get to realize that we are somewhere now. Why? IT was prioritized.
Exactly.
So I believe if the movie and arts industry was to be a priority, it wouldn't be where it is right now. We would be having more of that product, like that preview that we just reviewed, more of that. But such are only one of their kind. You're going to find that product with only Lukman Ali at most, or 2 people. You know, and it's not fair.
One of the biggest problems in the African setting is, like I said before, priorities. When you look at South Africa, the movie industry, Mzansi magic is quite paramount. So you realize the industry has grown. When you go to Niger, the same story.
Exactly.
Now, East Africa, we've had a drastic share of whatever we are doing in the entertainment sector. But most importantly, compare the movie industry to the sports beat, because I think they are interrelated. We are dealing with talent.
All right, you're very right about that. But you know what? Let's get into a short break. We shall come back and get to revive this morning at this particular time. Okay, it's exactly 28 minutes past the hour of 11 a.m. and we're going to get into a short commercial break. And of course, when we return, Ivan is still breaking down these matters regarding, and of course, understanding the entertainment industry. But on top of that, he will be giving us more analysis regarding the banking, the central bank rate, literally the banking industry for 2022. And of course, when we return, we shall hint a little bit still onto the music industry for just like 5 minutes. And Ivan will be breaking down these matters, that and more. Stick around. Good morning.
Smart 24, driving business. Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292 hash. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest. Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from that short commercial break, and of course we're still discussing the 2022 events, the highlights of 2022. And the question is, as a business person right there, what has been your major highlight that's come 2022? What is that event that transpired into the business world, or what is that aspect that happened to you and your business probably took a certain trend or a certain direction regarding that, and hope there is a way you can actually sustain that. You know, sustenance is also very key. And we are still discussing 2022 events, and we are talking the entertainment industry and looking at the banking industry, but we're still discussing, of course, the entertainment and heading into the aspect of the sports industry. But also, Ivan, there is that aspect. I think it was yesterday about tax the performing artists to get TINs, tax identification numbers. Yeah, and you know, we know that the performing arts is under the services industry, and the services industry collectively contributes approximately 47 trillion Ugandan shillings annually, and within that there is a portion of the performing arts. So what do you see? Don't you really think? I think okay. What's your say on that decision, taxing the performing arts in like 3 minutes?
Where there is money, there is an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the performing arts, actually, this is one area that's so capable of providing a lot more than we really even expect.
You're right.
I can give you an example of the South African movie industry and then the entertainment industry. The players in there are some of the most rich individuals.
Yeah.
Worldwide. We talk about Europe.
Yeah.
From the performing arts, music, to even sports. The performing arts it should be producing the biggest platform for taxation.
Okay.
Yes. Let's look at Uganda's position right now. The industry is at crossroads. You cannot compare the Ugandan music industry with the likes of Tanzania, be it Kenya.
Okay.
In terms of revenue, if someone sets up a concert, how much do they anticipate to earn from it? Even South Africa, Nigeria.
Right. Nigeria.
So we are at a process, or rather a stage where we seem to have stunted. When Reggae and Weasel were part of the music industry, I'm sorry to say this for those people that really like the other artists, but there was a tone that had been set. To get into the music industry, you needed to have the spine. That's the talent.
The talent. Okay.
And right now, when you look at the Ugandan music, it's a fairy tale of uncertainty.
Okay, that is strange.
And if you're banking on such a platform, then obviously you don't expect the market to broaden.
Okay.
There's always a story told in every single piece of music let out.
You're right.
Tanzanians always have a story to tell. The likes of Diamond, Mbosso, among others, Ali Kiba.
Very right.
So what's happening with the Ugandan music? Save for the big boys, Chameleon, you have Bobby Wine is out, you would say.
The Baby Cool.
Who else would you talk about?
Spice Diana.
There is always, maybe for the females. You have
females.
Yeah, Juliana, Irene is off.
Navio, I like rap.
Navio. So the industry is somewhere whereby you think that if you are taking the initiative to blend it to the very best, I think URA and Uganda at large would be in position to reap big. I'll give you an example. Let's look at the streaming platforms. YouTube, for instance. One of Uganda's biggest problems right now as far as communication is concerned is data. How expensive is it? If you compare the cost of data in Uganda in comparison to Tanzania, the likes of Safaricom, and then Kenya, you realize there is a deficit. Now, assuming the likes of Shiba, Chameleon, B2C release their music videos on YouTube, and then data is strictly cheap, affordable.
Exactly.
How much would they be earning off streaming?
Quite a lot of money.
It will be a lot of money, you understand? Because this is raw content being purchased by individuals such as you and me. But then there's a limit to that. And then from there, the government is seeing an opportunity still where we see the industry as being at a point where it's stunted. So they are coming in with the taxation. Yes, there is the money. How much assets does Chameleon hold? Like the likes of Shiba. So this is the stimulus to them.
Okay.
It tells them, okay, if Chameleon owns this and this, Weasel owns this and this, there is the money. So let's go for the money.
Money.
But have you provided the best platform for these people to provide the best revenues for your taxation? I don't think so.
So literally, it means maybe we are not yet ready for that. Are we? Okay, based on what you're saying, I pick that, and to some point you're very right, because sometimes there are things we demand onto a certain industry, but it's like when you're talking about the sports industry.
Yeah.
You know, trying before we came on air, you were telling me something about these people earning and stuff. You know, trying to get revenues from there.
Exactly.
But like what you've just said, if we are to relate the same matter, it's not going to be easy to put straight rules or policies in an industry which is still growing. Otherwise, even the potential investors, you're going to chase them away.
I
that
think
regard.
It's debatable, actually.
Sure.
Let's look at football, for instance. West Africa,
Yeah.
Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Cameroon, South Africa,
Yeah.
North Africa, Morocco, Egypt, among others. These are Africa's biggest exporters of sports talent.
Yeah.
And now much profits are repatriated back in these countries. Sadio Mane previously, and the initiatives to develop Senegal.
Okay.
You understand? So if you promote the local talent, let's take a look at, for instance, Brazil. They are not into broadening their local football, for instance. They are building talent for exportation.
Wow.
And ironically, what we are doing in Uganda is exporting domestic labor. Hundreds
Instead of talent.
Hundreds of Ugandans, females and then males, being exported to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, among other countries.
Okay.
So ask yourself, instead of exporting these people, if you are exporting raw talent, how much will you be talking about? We have regions in Uganda and areas where I'm certain we have the talent
Okay.
in football.
Yeah, we do.
Egang, I grew up having some of the biggest footballers. You look at someone and then realize, yeah, this guy's a potential
Potential
footballer.
talent. Yeah.
Ginger, Arua, West Nile.
Wow.
Those are rich areas.
Okay.
But have we put up the platform to exploit all these? When you look at Nambole right now, it's in shambles.
Very.
But then ask yourself, how long has it been serving Uganda?
So many times.
They even managed to host concerts in there to the point that right now they can't. So it's about the priorities are not straight. So we need to get the priorities straight so that we get the very best out of this. The NBA has one of the biggest collective bargaining agreements for the players. What's happening in the Ugandan Premier League? These guys are only able to sign a one-year contract. Why? Because they know the working conditions are not favorable for a long-term contract.
Okay.
So you realize that the problems are so big. The gate collections, where are they? If you have the poorest infrastructure, then you won't have the platform to reap big. We have no stadiums.
All right.
Every region would have been in position to have a number of its own.
True.
Having a regional team in there, you're promoting that.
Yeah.
The biggest players in the European leagues, the Premier League, for instance, you will pull crowds and then advertisement, sponsorships of what you have. AXA is an insurance company.
Okay.
They are free to sit on Liverpool's shirt as a sponsor because they know what Liverpool is worth. Fly Emirates for us, Real Madrid, all those. So you realize we need to set the infrastructure pretty much straight to get the very best out of this. Because you're only exporting to Tanzania, maybe Sudan, Congo, Ghana, where Mukwala is right now. So you realize there is a burden. We can do more beyond this.
Okay, that's very right. You're very true. Actually, we shall have more of that discussion sometime. Now, away from that, let's head to the banking industry 2022. Let's talk about, first of all, the central bank rate, 10%. And of course, it's caused quite lots of controversies amongst the traders downtown. And not only that, but also the business personnel right there. What do you say of that? And what do you think?
Central bank rates,
10 basis points.
It's been a year of the CBR being revised.
Yeah.
Previously, it was revised within 2 months instead of the usual 3.
Yeah.
So from around 6 down into 7, 8, and then 10%. They will tell you are curbing inflation. But then Uganda has been dealing, there's a report that we ran previously. We've been dealing with hyperinflation for some time.
Okay.
The economy is being run on transactions facilitated by big currency denominations.
Okay.
You have the 10,000 currency or not, 10,000 shillings. What's the biggest US currency, for instance?
I think it's
Kenya. What's the biggest currency? You don't have such big notes.
10.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have the 20,000.
Yeah.
You have the 50,000. All these are representations of hyperinflation. So you have big denominations facilitating cash transactions in the economy. It's been on for some time.
Yeah.
So ask yourself why. And this is a trend that has been ongoing for some time. Still, you've been dealing with target inflation. We have some commodities in here in this economy whose prices are always increasing.
Okay.
You have sugar. Sugar has been rising for some time, since the early 2000s, right into where we are right now. These are target commodities whose prices are always increasing. So question is it a matter of having so much money in circulation?
Okay.
And then who are the people that are owning the money in Uganda? When you look at the banks, the accounts that Centenary holds, when you look at other banks, Postbank among others, how many dormant accounts do they have? So many.
Right.
People are opening up accounts, but then they can't even afford to deposit their money. So if you're caring more about the money in circulation, the question is, who are the people that have the money?
Hold on a
Then they
little.
must be the big players.
Just a little, just to catch you there. I was having an interaction with some trader downtown. He's into the textile, and he told me, you know what, our economy, is largely informal sector, right?
Yeah.
And he told me money is in the formal sector. It is circulating heavily, according to him. But he said the reason why we don't feel it, it's because our economy is dead to the informal sector.
You would be right if you said the economy is dead to the informal sector. The informal sector plays the biggest part. This is where the agriculture is, where we get the raw materials for the agro-processing industries.
Yeah, right.
And this is the area that owns the transport industry.
Okay.
We are looking at the automobile industry. The people that own the taxis, that own the two-wheelers, where you hop onto a border, Uber, whatsoever, and then head somewhere. But then, if you're curbing inflation, raising the central bank rate, which means you're limiting borrowing, and then we have the fiscal policy, whereby the government looks into how much it's spending, and then how much it's earning in return for taxation. So if you're having a government that is spending in a way which isn't quite promising, you're only giving out handouts. You are having budgets that are so exorbitant, and that budget is always growing over time.
Very.
So you realize there is a big problem. Talking about the informal sector still, the automobile industry, we've had the disruptions, which means there's been a problem with the supply.
Okay.
The economy largely survives on the fuel.
Yeah.
And you're doing the importation from Mombasa. And then the people from Mombasa, where do they get the oil from? We have the OPEC, the oil producing and the exporting countries. They determine the fuel price. When was the last time a barrel of oil was less than maybe $40 US? Back in 2016, at around $43 US.
Wow.
Now getting into 2022, it's been over $120 billion US dollars. So it tells you something. There's been a disruption of the supply chain. Previously, we had Bololo Africa Logistics putting the market. And right next year, they'll be confirming that, being taken up by MSC.
Okay.
That's the Mediterranean shipping company. So realize we have a lot of considerations to look at. The international market, how is it faring? And then locally, how is the demand? Because I think the demand has been constant. Right here.
A little bit. Okay. Is there any way, like we can drive all that, driving it to the central bank rate? What does the central bank rate mean to all those surrounding economic?
I will tell you something. For instance, it's at 10% right now. It means for every individuals that are into business, let's say, for instance, the oil marketers, the likes of Rubis, Total, they import the oil. So at some point, if they need to rely on borrowing, whereby commercial banks have to lend them money, it means the interest on the principal will have to be high. So who has to foot the final bill? It will be the guy that buys,
of course, the final purchase, the final consumer.
Exactly. The guys in downtown Kampala that import products from China. Shipping lines from China have been hampered because of the international contestations. Then, if you're curbing inflation, if you're saying, okay, there's so much money in circulation, we need to cut out the demand, then ask yourself, how much money do these people owe? Because they used to import a lot more products of borrowing from commercial banks.
Commercial banks,
which isn't happening right now because they are afraid of the interest plus the principal. That's the amount of money they have to repay the banks. So it's quite challenging. Businesses are hampered. They are threatened from borrowing because we need to cut the demand. We believe that if the demand is there, then the prices will be high.
A little bit, Ivan. Borrowing. Now, okay, let me try to drive it from the perspective of a local trader.
Okay.
And most of them down there, they have their groups saving, circles. Couldn't that be a wise idea if they could borrow from circles at a friendly interest rate?
Then ask yourself, how much money do these circles own right now? Because I think one way that the central bank determines that there is so much money in circulation, there is the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index, whereby the orders from the different manufacturers reflect the progress of the economy. So if you have so many orders, it means there is money. But then there is money among the biggest players. So how about the informal sector people? The people that you're talking about that rely on these local circles to have the money. These are people that invest in their circles because they sold out something. Sometimes all the loans they had to secure from the banks. And these are loans that don't have merely fixed interest. We are talking about progressive interest over time.
You're right.
So ask yourself, the central bank has been raising the interest rate. That's the key lending rate, actually, to put it plainly. It's a lending rate. It's been raised from as low as 7 to what we have right now, 10%. And someone has had an interest on the loan that is progressive. Ask yourself, we are in a circle. Let's secure the loan, transform our business, and then invest back in, pay off the bills. How much money are we going to pay eventually? It will be a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So ideally, we are limited. We are at crossroads. The central bank tells you we have to limit the demand by raising the central bank rate. So limiting the demand, having higher interests on these loans, especially because this is a signature. When the central bank is raised, the commercial banks have to play by. So all loans that are sent out to the public have to come at a higher interest rate, which ideally discourages borrowing. And if at all the government itself borrows, ask yourself, how can the private sector thrive without borrowing? So ideally,
and government doesn't borrows huge sums
of money. We are looking at the capital markets themselves. People that invest in treasury bonds, bills, and then the short-term investments. They are disregarded because there's a lot that you have to pay back, and then you're not earning the exact income that you would have on the investment that you did.
Like your expectations are not, you don't meet your investment expectations, in other words.
Exactly. So we've been dealing with inflation for some time. Shifting, because right now we are banking on the ITL, that's the inflation targeting light framework, that basically looks at the rising commodity prices, headcore inflation, and then the headline inflation. But mostly determined by the fuel prices, that's for the headline inflation. Electricity prices, and then the fuel prices. And these have been at the peak for some time. From 2019, I think that's where we had these prices increasing over time. And you would expect businesses to really shrink you're running out of business. The
yeah.
automobile industry, for instance, if you're pushing for clean energy, clean energy transition, and basically limiting pollution and whatsoever, then you're looking at utilization of high-tech gadgets,
Definitely.
automobiles. So how many people are importing right now?
Not so many.
The guys in the import business will tell you that we are no longer importing.
Exactly.
Why? Because it's too expensive. So these people get loans from banks, invest in the importation of automobiles. You could talk about the SARS that these people in government use, among others, but they can't. Because right now someone will tell you that a Vanguard, a brand new Vanguard, goes for 65 million.
Okay.
So 65 million, you have 23 million as taxes. You understand?
Okay.
So how much profit is this guy making?
It's not really.
And then the market has been reverted to buying and selling of used cars local in here. Okay. All thanks to the inflation and everything. So we are at crossroads. East Africa is dealing with this. Quite interesting. We talk about Kenya. Kenya shouldn't be making as much money as they used to. The Mombasa port.
Yeah.
You're grappling. So if the shipping lines are no longer active as they used to be and having exits, World Remit previously exited the African market, all because of the inflation and then this chaotic atmosphere.
Yeah.
You're having Bolo Logistics quitting, like I said earlier on, giving out all assets to the Mediterranean shipping company.
Okay.
And these are people that have been in the business for some time.
Quite some time. Yeah.
So realize the atmosphere is chaotic. And if it's chaotic for the biggest players, then how about for the local people?
Wow. Very interesting insight. If the atmosphere is chaotic for the biggest players, then how much for the local people right there? Well, very interesting insight right there. We've been discussing about the central back rate and, of course, the entertainment industry performance. And, of course, the bigger factor here was we tried to put the emphasis on the banking industry this year and how the central back rate is affecting definitely the small traders, or can I say, not small in as such, but traders that are operating on small scale versus those that are operating on large scale. And Ivan has been breaking down for you these matters. And of course, I hope they have been making quite lots of sense to you. And the question is, as a business person right there, what has been your highlight of 2022? Maybe before we sign out, Ivan, in 30 seconds, what has been your highlight for 2022?
2022, anticipation for recovery. Most people, when we were locked up, they thought there was an end to everything.
Yeah, right.
So opening up the economy presented an opportunity. But then interesting, there's been a shift in the mindset of the individuals. So the people that used to rely on, okay, I earn almost monthly.
Yeah.
They're looking at alternative ways of investing their small income, which is interesting. But they still worry about this. The Ghanaian shilling. It's not as effective as you would say the Kenyan shilling is.
Okay.
Because we are dealing with a currency that has depreciated over time. And we are only looking on. So I would be glad to try to understand exactly what Ugandans are planning heading forward. Because they've learned a lot in the past two years.
2 years here.
So heading into 2023 should be quite interesting.
Okay.
How people balance between their small incomes and then the investment.
All right. Thank you so much, Ivan, for that.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting. And it's exactly 57 minutes past the hour 11 a.m. It's been SMB, of course, an extended version, all the way from 7 a.m. And of course, till now, coming to midday, just a few minutes to midday. And of course, channel 394, that's on GOTV, channel 372, that's DSTV, as you will be in position to catch us at whatever part of the region you will be at, the entire East Africa. And at Smart 24 TV, that's on Twitter, Smart 24 TV official, that's on Facebook, and at Smart 24 TV Live. But this time around, you will be getting us at whatever part of the globe you will be at as we deliver to you the business content, both international and local. Till Monday, that will be the 2nd of January 2023. Stick around. A good afternoon.
2024, Driving Business.